Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going deep into the world of medical engineering.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah. And to guide us, we've got some real-world advice from a website called Tagby. Think of it as like a treasure trove of insider tips for anyone who wants to be a medical engineer. It's really popular with especially those looking for internships. So if that's you, listen up.
Perfect. Okay, so first things first, what exactly IS medical engineering? I feel like a lot of people think it's all, robot surgeons and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, robot surgeons are part of it, but it's much broader than that.
Right.
It's really about applying engineering principles to solve problems in healthcare.
That's
So
true.
everything from like designing prosthetic limbs to developing new imaging techniques, you name it.
So like bridging the gap between healthcare and technology to actually improve patient care.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
I love that. It's engineering, but with a real purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of purpose, that's where Tagby comes in.
Okay, so why Tagby? Why is this site so valuable for, aspiring medical engineers?
Well, especially when it comes to the job hunt. It's because Tagby really digs into the specifics of this field.
Yeah.
They don't just give you generic career advice.
Right.
They break down common interview questions, they give you detailed sample answers, and they even give insights into the skills that employers are really looking for.
Oh, so it's like a cheat sheet for those like nerve-wracking interviews.
More than a cheat sheet. They help you understand kind of the mindset of the hiring manager, Like what are they really looking for when they ask you, tell us about yourself or why this company?
Right. Okay, let's get into some of those
Yeah.
questions. So Tagby says, for tell us about yourself, you really need to show your passion for the field and like your desire to actually make a difference, not just,
Yeah, it's not enough to just list off your resume.
Right.
You need to actually show them that you are like genuinely excited about medical engineering and you understand how your skills can help improve healthcare.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get tripped up because they just talk about what they've done and not why they're doing it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's about your motivation, showing them this isn't just any job to you.
Totally.
You want to make an impact.
For sure.
What about why this company? Tagby talks a lot about researching the company.
Yes.
But is that really that important?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Think about it from the employer's perspective. They want to see that you've, taken the time to actually learn about their specific work, their mission,
Yeah.
their values. It shows that you're genuinely interested in their company, not just any company with a job opening.
Right.
And like Tagby is an example where a candidate mentions a specific area of research the company's involved in, and that instantly shows them,
Shows you've done your homework.
Exactly.
Like showing up to a party and actually knowing the host
right.
makes you a little more welcome.
Exactly. It shows initiative
Yeah.
and genuine interest, which, I mean, that can really make a difference when you're competing with so many other people.
Okay, so we've covered. Tell us about yourself. Why this company? What about just the skills part of the interview?
Oh, yeah?
What kind of balance should a candidate aim for between
Yeah.
the technical skills and then the softer skills?
Yeah. You definitely need both.
Okay.
So on the technical side, Tagby highlights skills like analytical thinking, being good with CAD software, circuit design, 3D printing.
The tools of the trade.
Yeah, exactly. The tools of the trade.
You need that to, actually design and build this stuff.
Exactly.
But what about the soft skills? How important are those?
Super important.
Okay.
In medical engineering, you're always going to be collaborating with, teams of other engineers, doctors, researchers. So
A diverse group.
yeah, a diverse group, and you've got to be able to work with them.
Right.
So Tagby really stresses, that employers look for strong communication skills, problem
Right.
solving, a collaborative spirit, that kind of thing.
So you can't just be like, the brilliant lone wolf engineer.
No.
You have to be able to talk to people.
Exactly. You got to be a team player.
And I imagine, medical devices aren't your typical consumer electronics. There are some regulations
Yeah.
to ensure that they're safe, they're effective.
Yeah.
How does Tagby advise candidates to, show that they understand that whole world?
Really emphasize the importance of, understanding those regulations like FDA guidelines, ISO standards, particularly ISO 13485, which is all about quality management for medical devices. And their sample answer really highlights that you should be prepared to talk about, your knowledge of those regulations and how you'd apply them in the real world.
So it's not enough to just build a cool device.
Right.
You have to show that you understand the responsibility. That comes with creating something that's actually going to be used in healthcare.
Absolutely. Patient safety,
Yeah.
ethical development practices, all that.
All right, so we've talked about, tell us about yourself, why this company, the whole technical versus soft skills balance.
Yeah.
But now let's get into the, I guess, the more like nitty-gritty technical aspects of the interview.
Okay, let's go.
What kind of specific technical questions can someone expect?
Oh, they cover a lot of ground. And honestly, their sample answers are incredibly helpful for kind of seeing how to structure your responses,
Okay, cool.
to showcase your expertise.
Let's start with CAD, because I imagine that's a common one.
Yeah.
Demonstrating your expertise with that software.
Right.
What are some of the things Tagby says about that?
So they suggest going beyond just, listing the software that you're familiar with.
Right.
Instead, talk about specific projects where you actually used CAD to design or analyze medical devices. So, for example, you might talk about using SolidWorks to create a 3D model of a prosthetic limb, or using AutoCAD to do stress analysis on implant materials.
So it's not just, I know CAD, it's here's what I can do with it.
Exactly. Show them, don't just tell them.
Okay.
Employers want to see that you can actually use these tools to solve problems, contribute to designs.
Real applications.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I imagine biomedical sensors is a big one, too.
Oh, huge.
But that can be kind of a complex subject. So how does Tagby suggest you break it down?
Well, what I like is that they encourage a clear and concise explanation. Avoid the jargon.
Yeah.
They might use an example like an ECG sensor and explain how it detects electrical signals from the heart, provides data for diagnosing cardiac conditions.
Okay.
But then they go a step further
Oh.
and they highlight the challenges involved,
Ah.
like making sure it's accurate, minimizing noise, integrating it into medical devices, stuff like that.
So it's not just a textbook definition.
No, not at all.
It's giving context,
Not saying
showing
that.
you get the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's about demonstrating a deeper understanding of how it all works, the principles behind it all.
Okay, now here's a question I think would stump a lot of people in an interview.
Oh.
How would you troubleshoot a malfunctioning medical device?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a tough one.
So what does Tagby say?
They emphasize a systematic approach, which is really crucial.
Okay.
So their sample answer might outline a step-by-step process, starting with identifying the issue, then checking the power, the connections, reviewing the software, testing components,
Right.
But they also highlight that you should consult the manual, collaborate with senior engineers, document everything.
So it's not about knowing all the answers right away.
No, definitely not.
It's about showing how you think.
Yeah, exactly. That methodical, logical approach.
Yeah, makes sense.
Draw upon your knowledge, your resources, find a solution.
And speaking of resources, what about programming languages?
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Which ones does Tagby single out as being important?
So typically they'll mention Python, MATLAB, and C++.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that they don't just list them, they connect them to their specific applications,
So how they're actually used.
Right, exactly.
Not just that you know them in theory.
Yeah, so they might talk about how Python's used for data analysis and visualization, MATLAB for simulations and modeling, and C++ for developing embedded systems.
Makes sense, showing you can actually apply it to solve problems.
Yeah, creating real-world solutions.
Okay, last one for this section, and it's a bit of a head-scratcher. Signal processing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not an engineer, so how would Tagby explain that to, a normal person?
Well, they do a good job of making it accessible, I think. They might start by explaining that signal processing is essential for analyzing biomedical signals, like, your ECG and EEG readings.
Okay.
And then they'll highlight how it, helps to enhance the accuracy of those signals, filter out the noise, and extract meaningful data that can be used for diagnosis and treatment.
So it's like taking the raw data and making it actually useful.
Yeah, exactly. Turning it into something reliable and meaningful.
Okay, that makes sense.
It shows that you understand how all of that contributes to, accurate and reliable devices.
All right, so we've covered a ton of ground on the technical side, but medical engineering isn't just about knowing that stuff.
No, definitely not.
It's about being able to solve problems, creatively, think outside the box.
For sure.
How does Tagby approach those kinds of questions, the more open-ended, problem-solving ones?
Well, they give some really good examples that demonstrate a solution-oriented mindset, I guess.
Okay.
So one story they share is about a team that was facing structural weaknesses in a 3D printed prosthetic prototype.
Mm.
And their approach was to, research alternative materials, modify the design using CAD, implement reinforcement techniques, and they kind of break it down step by step, showing how they, identified the problem, explored solutions, and ultimately made a more robust design.
So it's about adapting, learning from setbacks, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Employers want to see that you can think critically,
Mm-mm.
be resourceful, and persevere even when things get tough.
And TAGB takes it a step further by talking about cost-effective solutions, right?
Yes.
Especially for, global health challenges.
Absolutely.
So why is that important in medical engineering?
Well, because it's about making healthcare technology accessible to everyone,
Mhm.
regardless of their location or economic status.
Yeah.
TAGB uses the example of designing a prosthetic limb for developing countries,
All right.
where, affordability and durability are super important.
For sure.
And they highlight, using readily available materials, modular designs that are easy to repair, and even open source software.
So it's like engineering ingenuity, but with this like social responsibility element, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's crucial.
Okay, now let's say you're asked about improving an existing medical device.
Okay.
How would TAGB approach that?
They really stress understanding user needs and pain points. So, for example, they might talk about a project where they redesigned a blood pressure cuff
Hmm.
to make it fit better, be more accurate, just improve the overall experience. And they walk through gathering feedback, analyzing flaws, making modifications with CAD software, that kind of thing.
So it's not just about building new stuff, it's about looking at what's already there and saying, okay, how can we do this better?
Exactly. It shows you're interested in refining and improving things.
Yeah, and I imagine in this field, things are always being refined and improved.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, not everything goes perfectly smoothly.
Right.
So how does TAGB advise you to talk about, those moments when a prototype fails, a design just doesn't work?
What I appreciate is that they really encourage candidates to embrace failure as a learning opportunity.
Hmm.
So they might talk about a specific example where a prototype failed during testing, and instead of shying away from it, they use it to showcase their problem-solving skills. So they talk about analyzing the data, identifying the failure point, modifying the design, retesting to see if it worked.
So it's about showing that you can, roll with the punches,
Yeah.
learn from your mistakes.
Exactly. It shows resilience.
Okay, so we've talked about technical expertise, problem solving, regulations, but what about like the human side of this?
Oh, yeah, that's important too.
How does TAGB talk about showcasing those, I guess, softer skills?
They dedicate a lot of their advice to interpersonal skills because they know that technical brilliance alone isn't enough.
Right. You got to be able to work with other humans.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those. Let's start with handling constructive criticism.
Yep.
Because, not everyone loves getting feedback, right?
No, definitely not.
So how should you approach that in an interview?
Well, TAGB really emphasizes that you should frame constructive criticism as an opportunity for growth,
Right.
So their sample answer might highlight the importance of active listening, seeking clarification when needed, and just expressing a willingness to use that feedback
Yeah.
to improve your work.
So it's not just saying I'm open to feedback, it's showing you actually understand how it can help you.
Exactly.
Okay, what about managing deadlines? Because I imagine in a field like this, things move pretty fast.
Oh, super fast.
So how do you address that in an interview?
Well, TAGB often shares an anecdote about a university project that had a tight deadline,
Okay.
like maybe developing a wearable heart monitor prototype in a very limited time frame.
Right.
And they emphasize breaking it down into smaller tasks, setting milestones, and just using good time management techniques.
Okay, so it's showcasing your organizational skills, your ability to prioritize.
Exactly. And showing that you can still deliver good quality work even when things are crazy.
Now, I'm curious about motivation.
Yes.
What does TAGB say about finding that inner drive that's going to make you successful?
Well, they really recommend focusing on the impact your work could have on patients' lives.
Right.
So they might talk about the personal satisfaction of developing life-saving technology,
Yeah.
or seeing your innovations actually improve someone's quality of life, connecting with that deeper purpose.
It's not just about the technical stuff, it's about the why.
Exactly.
Okay, last one for this section, and this is a big one. Quality control.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Why is it so important in this field?
Because in medical device development, there's zero room for error.
Right, these are things that are going to be used on people.
Exactly.
So how does TAGB talk about that?
Well, they might talk about their attention to detail, their rigorous testing procedures, their adherence to those quality management systems,
Hmm.
like ISO 13485.
Okay.
They might even give an example of a time when they, identified a potential flaw in a design and they took the steps to fix it, even if it meant delaying a deadline, you know?
Wow. So it's really showing that you get it. You
Yeah.
understand the gravity of what you're doing.
Absolutely, that lives are at stake.
Yeah, you're not cutting corners.
Okay, now we've talked about the technical skills, the problem solving, all of that. But what about the future?
Ooh, good question.
How does TAGB tell people to talk about their career aspirations in this field?
They really encourage you to think beyond just getting the job, to think about your long-term goals, your ambitions.
Right, yeah.
So their advice is often about identifying a specific area you're interested in, like, prosthetics, biomaterials, imaging, and then discussing how you plan to keep learning and growing in that niche.
Okay.
They might even talk about, wanting to take on leadership roles or contribute to research and development.
So it's about showing that you've got a vision. You're not just looking for any job, you're looking to build a career.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like we've covered so much, and we're just scratching the surface of what TAGB has to offer.
Oh, there's so much more to explore. Their
Yeah.
website is truly like a gold mine of information.
Yeah.
They even have insights into specific niches within the field, like biomechanics,
Oh, cool.
bioinstrumentation,
Mhm.
rehabilitation engineering, you name it.
I'm already feeling inspired.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like combining your passion for science and tech with this opportunity to actually make a difference.
Yeah, that's
It's a
fair.
powerful combination.
So what do you think is like the biggest takeaway from all this?
I think the most important thing is this. Medical engineering isn't just about the technical stuff.
Right.
It's about blending that with your problem solving, your collaborative spirit, and most importantly, your passion for improving healthcare.
So it's being like brilliant and compassionate.
Exactly. That's what makes this field so rewarding.
I love that. I love that. Now, I know our listeners are probably eager to hear more about those specific niches within the field, like biomechanics and all that.
Yeah, me too.
And we'll definitely dive deeper into that stuff in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait.
But for now, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay, sounds good.
And we'll be right back with more insights into the exciting world of medical engineering.
All right, looking forward to it.
All right, we're back, ready to dive even deeper into medical engineering. Before the break, we were talking about, blending those technical skills with that real passion for improving healthcare. And now I want to get into those specific niches that TAGB talks about.
Yeah, let's explore those.
Starting with biomechanics.
Oh, cool.
What exactly does a biomechanics engineer focus on?
Well, biomechanics is all about applying mechanical principles to biological systems.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Our bodies are these incredibly complex machines, right?
Right.
And biomechanics engineers, they're the ones who study how those machines work, how they move, how they interact with the world around them.
So it's like taking the principles of physics and engineering and applying it to the human body.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's so cool.
It is cool. And they're involved in all kinds of stuff.
Like what?
Like designing prosthetic limbs, orthotics, analyzing athletic performance, coming up with ways to prevent injuries.
Right.
They might study the forces involved in walking, running, jumping, or analyze the stress on joints and bones during different activities.
I'm already getting tired just thinking about all that.
It's a lot.
TAGB mentions that biomechanics plays a big role in sports medicine.
Yeah, definitely.
So how would a biomechanics engineer actually contribute to that?
Well, let's say you have a pro athlete who's recovering from a knee injury.
Okay.
A biomechanics engineer might use motion capture technology to analyze their gait,
Okay.
see if there are any imbalances, and then design a rehab program that targets those specific areas.
Wow.
They might even work with the athlete to optimize their technique to reduce the risk of getting hurt again and improve their performance overall.
That's incredible.
It's pretty amazing what they can do.
Yeah, so biomechanics can be used to both treat injuries and enhance performance.
Exactly. It's a really versatile field.
And I bet it's in demand.
Oh yeah, super in demand.
Okay, TAGB also highlights bioinstrumentation as another exciting area.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What's that all about?
Bioinstrumentation is all about designing and developing those instruments and devices that we use to measure and analyze biological signals. It's like creating the tools that let us see inside the human body and understand how it's all working.
Right.
So think about ECG machines, blood pressure monitors, even brain imaging systems.
So it's like giving doctors and researchers a window into the body.
Yeah, exactly. And that's essential for diagnosing and treating all kinds of conditions.
Makes sense, but that sounds really complex.
It is complex.
What are some of the key skills someone would need if they are interested in bioinstrumentation?
Well, you definitely need a strong foundation in electronics,
Okay.
signal processing, but also a deep understanding of human physiology and anatomy.
Right, so you have to know what you're looking for.
Exactly. You need to know what signals you want to capture, how to collect them accurately,
Yeah.
and then how to interpret all that data.
And I'm guessing regulations and safety standards are a big deal here.
Oh, huge deal.
Why?
Because the devices you're designing, they're being used to, diagnose and treat real people.
Right, of course.
Accuracy and reliability are absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Any little error could have serious consequences.
Makes sense. High stakes.
Yeah, so bioinstrumentation engineers need to be super aware of FDA guidelines, ISO standards, all those regulations that make sure medical devices are safe and effective.
So you really can't mess around.
Nope.
Okay, we've talked biomechanics, bioinstrumentation. What about rehabilitation engineering?
Oh, that's a good one.
TAGB mentions that, so what can you tell us about it?
Rehab engineering is all about developing tech that helps people with disabilities or impairments, to improve their functional capabilities and just their overall quality of life.
So it's like using engineering to, I don't know, bridge the gap between ability and disability.
Exactly. It's about restoring independence
Yeah.
and empowering people to overcome those physical challenges.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really rewarding.
So what kinds of things do rehab engineers actually do?
Well, they design all kinds of assistive devices like prosthetic limbs, wheelchairs, communication aids, adaptive technologies, you name it.
Okay.
And they work closely with therapists and clinicians to create personalized rehab programs that, incorporate this tech.
That's so cool. I remember TAGB gives this really inspiring example
Yeah.
about a robotic exoskeleton that helped a paralyzed person walk again.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example. It shows how powerful rehab engineering can be.
Right.
Restoring mobility, independence, it's amazing.
And it's not just physical. Right.
No, not at all.
It's cognitive, social. It's helping people participate in their communities.
Exactly. It's really about breaking down barriers.
Okay, so we've touched on biomechanics, bioinstrumentation, rehab engineering,
Uh-huh.
but I want to zoom out a bit.
Okay.
What about the bigger picture of medical engineering?
Yeah.
What are some of the the trends, the advancements that are, shaping the future of this whole field?
Well, one of the most exciting things right now is the intersection of medical engineering and AI.
AI. Okay.
Yeah, artificial intelligence.
That makes sense. AI is everywhere these days.
It is, and
Uh-huh.
it's transforming healthcare in so many ways. It's like opening up all these possibilities for smarter, more personalized devices and treatments.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine a prosthetic limb that can actually learn and adapt to the user's movements over time,
Wow.
becoming more intuitive and responsive with every step.
That's insane.
Or imagine a diagnostic tool that can analyze medical images, like way more accurately than a human radiologist, potentially catching diseases earlier when they're easier to treat.
So it's like AI is not just making things better, it's creating totally new things.
Yeah, exactly. It's really revolutionizing the field.
Okay, what about nanotechnology? I feel like that's another one that's changing everything.
Oh yeah, nanotech is huge.
How is that impacting medical engineering?
Well, nanotechnology is all about, manipulating materials at the atomic and molecular level. And in medical engineering, it's opening up possibilities for things like targeted drug delivery,
Right.
biocompatible implants, even engineering tissues and organs.
So it's like working with the building blocks of life.
Exactly. Imagine like a tiny nanobot that can deliver medication directly to a tumor cell. So you minimize side effects, maximize the treatment, or a bioengineered scaffold that helps grow new tissue to repair damaged organs.
That sounds like sci-fi, but it's real.
It is real. It's happening right now.
That's so cool. But I imagine with all this advanced technology, there are ethical considerations, right?
Absolutely.
How does TAGB say to, approach those in an interview?
Well, they really emphasize that you need to show, you understand the ethical implications of all this tech.
Yeah.
It's not about having all the answers.
Right.
Or, taking a hop stance on every issue.
Okay.
It's about showing you're aware of the risks and the benefits, that you're committed to responsible innovation and willing to have those tough conversations.
So it's about thinking critically, considering the bigger picture.
Exactly. Employers want to know you're not just smart, but also responsible.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of exciting, complex stuff.
We have.
Is there anything else that Tagby, highlights as being super important for people who are serious about this field?
They really stress continuous learning and professional development.
Okay.
So they're always telling aspiring medical engineers to stay up to date, you know,
Mm-hmm.
go to conferences, read journals, maybe even pursue advanced degrees or certifications.
Keep learning, keep growing.
Yeah. And they also talk about networking, joining professional organizations, finding mentors.
So it's about recognizing that this is a journey, not just a destination.
Exactly. The field's always evolving, so you got to evolve with it.
That makes sense.
It's challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
I think that's a great note to end this part of our deep dive on.
Yeah, I agree.
We've covered so much ground already.
We have.
But I know our listeners are probably thinking, okay, but how do I actually get a job in this field?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
So when we come back, we'll dive into Tagby's insights on, how to navigate the job search, ace those interviews,
Let's do it.
and actually launch your career in this amazing world.
I'm excited to talk about that.
We're back, and now it's time to tackle that big question: how to actually land your dream job in medical engineering. Tagby has a lot to say about that whole process, right?
Oh, yeah. They give some great advice, stuff that goes beyond just, make your resume look pretty.
Right. So where do you even begin? Where do you look for these jobs?
Well, Tagby says it's all about using multiple resources, casting a wide net,
Okay.
So traditional job boards are a good starting point, of course,
Right.
but they also suggest checking out websites that are specific to medical engineering or healthcare technology.
So it's about going beyond the generic stuff.
Yeah, be more targeted.
What about networking?
Oh, super important. Tagby's all about networking.
Yeah.
They say you should go to industry conferences, connect with people on LinkedIn,
Right.
even reach out to people who work at companies you admire.
I guess in a field like this, it's not just what you know,
Yeah.
it's who you know, too.
Exactly. Those personal connections can make a big difference.
Okay, so you found some job postings, you've updated your resume. What about the cover letter?
The cover letter.
Any tips on making yours stand out?
Tagby's big on tailoring it to each specific job and company.
Okay.
So don't just repeat your resume. Show them you've actually done your research,
Right.
that you understand what they're looking for.
Show them you care.
Yeah, exactly. Highlight specific projects or experiences that actually match their requirements.
Okay.
Weave in keywords from the job description. Tell a story. Make it engaging.
So it's like a mini narrative.
Yeah, think of it that way.
Okay, so now let's say you've landed an interview. We've talked about some general interview tips, but does Tagby have anything specific for medical engineering?
They really stress showing your passion for the field and your understanding of the impact your work can have.
Okay.
So talk about projects you've worked on, the challenges, the solutions you came up with,
So bring your experiences to life.
Yeah, make it real for them.
What about technical questions? How deep should you go?
Tagby says, find a balance. Show your knowledge, but keep it clear and concise.
Okay.
Don't get lost in the jargon.
Right. Make sure they can actually follow you.
Exactly.
And what if you don't know the answer?
Honestly, it's okay to say you don't know.
Really?
Yeah, just be honest.
Okay.
And say you're willing to learn. That's much better than trying to make something up.
I guess that shows you're, willing to grow.
Exactly. And every employer wants that.
Okay, now I know it's important to ask questions at the end of an interview.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But what kind of questions should you ask?
But Tagby has some good suggestions. Ask about the company culture, the specific projects you'd be working on,
Okay.
opportunities for growth, professional development.
Right.
You could even ask about the company's vision for the future of medical engineering.
So showing you're thinking long term, not just about this one job.
Yeah, that you want to be part of something bigger.
All right, now let's say you get the job offer.
Well,
Does Tagby have any advice on negotiating?
they say do your research, know what you're worth,
Okay.
and think about things beyond just salary.
Right, like benefits.
Yeah, work-life balance, all of that.
Make sure it's the right fit.
Exactly, because this is a big decision.
Okay, so you've landed the job, you're about to start your career. Any parting words of wisdom from Tagby?
They say stay curious, never stop learning, and embrace the collaborative spirit of the field.
Okay.
And most importantly, stay true to that passion for improving healthcare.
Use your skills to make a difference.
Yeah, make a positive impact on the world.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
Well, this has been such an incredible deep dive.
Yeah, it has.
I feel like I've learned so much, and I hope our listeners have too.
Me too.
Big thanks to our expert for being here today and sharing all these amazing insights.
My pleasure. I love talking about this stuff.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you're feeling inspired to pursue your own dreams in medical engineering.
We can't wait to see what you all accomplish.
Until next time, keep diving deep.